Good afternoon and welcome to K-12 Education Budget. Garrett has been working on our minutes and you should have an email with some of those minutes. If you find anything that needs correction, please let him know. We will not vote on those quite yet. Hopefully we'll have another opportunity. If not, I'll call a meeting at the rail and we will approve all of our minutes that we have so far. Committee, last Wednesday, we made recommendations to move K-12 education budget provisions from House Bill 2274 and House Bill 2273 into Senate Bill 113. Today, we're going to be working Senate Bill 113 and ultimately, if the committee approves, pass it out favorably as a House substitute for Senate Bill 113, pairing, of course, constitutional funding with policy. All right, so we need to begin with a formal motion to include the budget provision. So Representative Landwehr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the original contents of SB 113 be removed and that the K-12 budget provisions of HB 2274 and HB 2273 be inserted with the following. The State Department of Education budget of FY 23, 24, and 25 as provided in Section 24 of House Bill 74, and Sections 57 and 58 of House Bill 2273, and Section 118 of House Bill 2273, amending KSA 725462, relating to school district capital improvement state aid revenue transfers from the State General Fund for FY 23.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second from Representative Johnson.
Madam Chair, I second the motion.
Gotcha. And any further discussion on the contents of the budget bill? All right, you may close on your motion.
Close.
Motion has been made and seconded to move formally the contents into Senate Bill 113 and remove any existing contents prior. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Would note, Kyle Hoffman, we are welcoming him back to committee, so thank you for subbing in today. We appreciate that. All right, moving on to...
Can you sub in for me and do the bill?
Yeah, she's not loving that. Representative Hill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With the budget now in Senate Bill 113, I have some amendments that I would like to make on it, and do we have an amendment ready to go?
I don't think there's an amendment for this one, but you can go ahead and...
Okay,
yes,
I will go, I'll move the amendment and then I'll explain what it is. We removed the special ed state aid appropriations because we already have that in the other bill, Senate Bill 83. And so I'm removing that from this bill. I'm also removing the following enhancements that are included currently. The professional development enhancement, that's $1.9 million. State General Fund. Mentor teachers, which is $1 million State General Fund. And parents teachers, 1.3 from all funds. It would maintain the MHIT enhancement for mental health of $3 million. An additional $1 million for safe and secure grants. And one change in that we would strike out the acquisition of naloxone hydrochloride products. Then for fiscal year 2025, the amendment removes the high density at risk sunset provision, $76 million. And because we need to look at that again anyway next year. And then also on fiscal year 2025, we would continue to hold the same level of special ed funding as in 2024, waiting on the task force, and then that would also include the total funding of $599.2 million increase there, and it's not an exact number, but that gives us a place to start with.
Okay, did we get all of those, JG? All of the list? Okay, so that is your motion, Representative Hill?
My motion.
Is there a second? Second, Representative Landwehr. Open for discussion. All right, you may close.
Close.
Motion has been made and seconded for changes in the provisions of the budget bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Other amendments. Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have paperwork on this one or not? On the 20 mil property tax? While he is passing those out, this is the continuing the 20 mil statewide property tax levy for schools. It'll just amend 2022 Supplement 75-5142 and repeal the existing sections. And it is a 1 1/4 page document on the proposed amendment.
And that is your motion?
I would move that we amend this amendment in to the base bill.
Do we have a second? Representative Hill seconds the motion and discussion. All right, it was reminded to me earlier today that the homestead provisions originally is $20,000. It's not counted on your property tax. Last year we moved it to $40,000, which was additional $47 million in tax relief, but we still do provide that difference, and the renewal does need to be maintained every 2 years. Is that right? Nick?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, the tax levy is renewed every 2 years. That homestead exemption used to be in conjunction with the tax levy renewed every 2 years, but the bill last year, a tax bill changed that to the $40,000 like you discussed, and then also to continue that $40,000 exemption. Oh, plus an inflationary adjustment as well for all subsequent years. So this is only dealing with the tax levy since the homestead exemption has been continued in perpetuity by law.
All right, questions for the carrier of the motion? All those, oh, you may close.
I close.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and the renewal of the 20 mills is approved. Did you have another representative?
Yes, I have a second one. This is House Bill 2271, which was originally my base bill, dealing with allowing employees who are in a school district to have their children also attend that district in dealing with the open enrollment. There were some other sections that we saw fit necessary, including several issues in dealing with homeless we put into that bill. And I wanted to point out, this does not include lesson plans for teachers being required to be published, only administrative necessities. And one other couple points, the new portion that we added in, child who is experiencing homelessness, and determinations for districts as they set their policy in place to make determinations for the open enrollment. So with that, I would move my motion that we add 2271 House Bill into the bill.
Do we have a second? Second, Landwehr? Nick?
I do have copies of the bill to pass out if anybody needs that. This was heard in this committee, so everybody should be aware of it. I just want to clarify that this is the version, like you discussed, Representative Johnson, the as amended by House committee version.
Correct.
Thank you.
Would anyone like a copy of the bill? All right, committee, this is the version that we did pass in this committee with those amendments and no additional changes. Is that correct, Representative?
That is correct. It is as listed on the bill as amended.
Any other discussion on the motion? The open enrollment fix, you may close.
I close.
All right, committee, all those in favor of the open enrollment fix, say aye. Aye. And any opposed? Motion carries. Representative Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. I have some amendments, please. While Nick's passing this one out, I'll kind of briefly explain it. So we heard a lot of testimony. We had a meeting about this where they came and talked to us about a cost of living adjustment for teachers available to the school districts and where it's currently at as far as getting teachers to be able to live in the district they teach in. So we have some cost of living adjustments that would make it a lot better. What this does is raise the current cap from 5% to 7%, and it also drops the current statute language restricting eligibility to exceeding 125% of the statewide average residential home value and lowers that to 115%. So basically, instead of 21 districts currently having access to this, it'll be 27 now. Nick, if you have anything to add to that, feel free. If the chair allows, please.
Do we have a second? Representative Johnson and discussion. Representative Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you list the additional 6 districts that will qualify? Okay, let me just take a picture of it.
Let me see it. Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll just take a picture of it. Thank you, Madam Chair. I took care of it. I withdraw my question.
Any other questions, committee? Now that just makes me curious too, so I'm still looking. All right, any other questions for Representative Thomas on his motion? All right, you may close on your motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I close.
All right, committee. All those in favor of the COLA amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay, no, it's fine. Motion carries. Representative Thomas.
Madam Chair, I have another amendment. While Nick is passing this one out, I will kind of briefly explain it. This would add current year to the funding formula, allowing growing districts like Spring Hill and many others access to current year funding. What this will also do is save money because we're going to pay for these students, but when you have an increase, the funding is a year behind. So instead of paying a year later at a higher rate, this would allow current year funding, so they will get funding at the current level and actually save the state money. So House Bill 2040 was heard in the Education Policy Committee, passed out of committee. There was a lot of conversation around it. I believe there were no opponents to it, if memory serves me correctly. So with that, I will stand for questions.
We have a motion and Representative Landwehr second and discussion. Do you want to make a friendly amendment to your motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to move the funding associated with House Bill 2040 as well.
Is that good, Representative Landwehr? Yes, it is. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, one more, then you're done with me. One more amendment. I'm almost done, I promise. This amendment, so we had a bill in House Education Committee we called the Safe and Secures Act bill. What it was it created a system where the security would do 10 full audits minimum of school district buildings for safe and secure policies. And it passed out of committee very favorably. What they were asking for was 2 additional FTEs to make this happen. So what we're doing here is we're going to sort of compromise on that and add 1 additional FTE and funding for that FTE to this bill, and then the state board will implement this policy without legislation, which I think is a friendly gesture to let the state board actually implement this policy, but they do require us to add this FTE and add the funding for it so they can implement this. So with that, I will stand for questions.
We have a motion and a second, and then we may need to clarify the amount for that FT.
The bill, I believe, was 2138, House Bill 2138.
And do we need to have a specific amount of funding for that, or just add the FTE? How do we?
The FTE comes with $80,000 in funding for the salary and $5,000 for security for a total of $85,000.
Okay, $85,000. Do we have a second? Representative Landwehr for the second and discussion. Did we get everything that we needed to? Nick?
Yes, and this is on me. I had a printout that I meant to print out, and I did not print it out. I've got it available, and I could print out copies for the committee if they would like. Yes, $85,000 for essentially $80,000 for the salary fringe benefits of the employee, the FTE position, and then $5,000 for operating expenditures, and then a proviso that outlines that this would go into the operating expenditures account of KSDE, and then there would be a proviso that states that this auditor position would be conducting school safety and security or procedure audits of school districts, that the auditor would be trying to, and the agency would try to select school districts of various sizes and types for these audits, and that they would be also just inspection of policies and also on-site inspections, and that the agency, KSD, would prepare and submit a report regarding the audits that are, and the information in the audits that they find, to the extent that it doesn't jeopardize public safety.
Okay, Representative Thomas?
It's House Bill 2278, by the way, is the language of the bill that has a fiscal note attached. So my apologies, I gave the wrong bill number.
So question, Representative Thomas. So on this, right now in law, are schools required to prepare a plan? They just are not audited. Is that correct? We know there's someone in the audience that knows the answer. No, they are not required to have a plan. You can come on up. Want to come on up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Craig Nineswander, State Department of Ed. When they apply for the grant, if they apply for that grant, they are required to submit their plan at that time. But other than that, there's not a requirement in law that they have a plan on file.
Okay.
I can fairly confidently say most, never say all, but most do, but it's not required.
So go ahead, if you wouldn't mind, stay there for just a minute. Representative Thomas, does that mean then that these audits would be from those that are applying to the grants or have applied to the grants, or would it be anyone?
It would be anyone, if I believe, yes.
Okay, and they would be selected by KSDE?
Selected at random, yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Representative Thomas or Craig? All right, thank you. All right, we had a second. I think that was Representative Landwehr. Any other discussion? You may close.
Very well. Thank you, Madam Chair. I close.
All right, committee, a motion has been made and seconded to add an FTE for the safe and secure. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. No one's opposed to you ending.
Madam Chair, I'm done.
Okay. Great. All right. Representative Garber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have an amendment to House Bill 2030, which we were a while back. Now, this has to do with Kansas State High School athletics.
Is your mic on?
I guess it was before and I turned it off. Anyways, this has to do with the Kansas High School Activities Association authorizing certain students to participate in activities offered by school districts. The amendments, the first one has to do with specifying that the student that is wanting to play in these activities has to be in the district. They have to go to the school that they reside in, the district that they reside in. The second one is a larger attachment that's on the second page of the amendment, talking about homeschooling and any student attending homeschool who seeks to participate in an activity. And there's some stipulations that they have to meet there. A student is mastering the material to each course or subject being taught to such student. Student is maintaining satisfactory progress towards achievement or promotion to the next grade level. Parent, teacher, or organization that provides instruction to the student submits an affidavit to the Activities Association indicating the student meets the academic eligibility requirements of subparagraphs A and B. Upon submission of the affidavit, the student attending homeschool shall be considered to meet any academic eligibility requirements established by activities. The third balloon amendment is Part D in Section 1. Except as provided in subsection B, any student who seeks to participate in an activity pursuant to this section shall be subject to any tryout or any other participation requirements. In other words, they have to go out for the team, and if they make the team, they make it. If they don't make it, then that's it. So I would like to offer that amendment and offer 2030 to be added to this Senate Bill 113.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second? Representative Johnson is the second, and discussion for Representative Garber. No discussion. You may close on your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I close on my amendment.
All right, committee, you have heard the amendment, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Representative Landwehr?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move at this time to amend in House Bill 2444, which is the Mental Health Intervention Program, with a technical amendment. While it's being handed out, Madam Chair, it would be on page 3 would add section F, or letter F, on or before the first day of the legislative session of 2024 and or before the first day of each legislative session thereafter, the department shall prepare and submit a report on the Mental Health Intervention Team program for the preceding school year to the House of Representatives, Standing Committees on Appropriations, Social Services Budget, and K-12 Education Budget, and the Senate Standing Committees on Ways and Means, Public Health and Welfare, and Education. Such report shall provide a summary of the program, including but not limited to the school districts that applied to participate or continued participating under the program, the participating community mental health centers, the grant amount each school district received, and the payments made by the school districts from the Mental Health Intervention Team Program Fund of each school district. That's the technical.
All right, committee, do we have a second? Representative Schmoy. And discussion. All right, Representative, you may close.
Close.
All right, committee, all those in favor of the House Bill 2444 with technical amendment motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Representative Landwehr?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also at this time, because of the amendment that we just passed, is move that we remove the portion of the Mental Health Intervention Pilot Program proviso language relating to the implementation of the program through proviso Program will be implemented pursuant to House Bill 2444, leaves the current $13.5 million appropriation.
Do we have a second? Yep, Representative Hoffman. Discussion? All those in, you may close. All right. And motion has been made, and seconded, and closed. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And those opposed? Motion carries. Representative Schmoy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion that we adopt in House Bill 2261, which is the one that allows local school districts to compensate the local school board pay, should they choose to.
Do we have a second? Representative Johnson. And discussion? All right, you may close.
I close.
All right, committee, all those in favor of including House Bill 2261, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Yes, Representative Boyd?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can the record reflect that I abstained from that vote, please?
Yes, sure. One abstention. All right, committee, other amendments? All right, Representative Landwehr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion that we create a House substitute for SB 113 with all past committee amendments and recommend House sub for SB 113 as amended favorably for passage. And staff can make all technical adjustments.
Do we have a second? Representative Thomas has got the second. All right. Discussion? All right, committee, you may close on that motion.
Close.
All right, committee, all those in favor of passing out substitute, House substitute for Senate Bill 1113 with amendments and technical changes, say aye. Aye. And those opposed? No. All right, the motion passes. All right, committee, stay tuned. I do not have anything on the agenda for the rest of the week, but stay tuned in case there's something that comes up. Good work, and we are adjourned.